symbolic, faux outrage type of group that everybody supposes or pretends like is there, but they really aren't there. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for supporting what we've been doing here. This is episode 4. Tonight we are talking about the Jesuit Flynnfowars Octopus Network. That is right. That is exactly how we're going to characterize this going forward so that we can identify what it is that no one will talk about. What we did last week, we discussed communism's true origins. And what did we learn? What we learned is that the last thing in the world these people are willing to do is to tell you what communism actually is, because they're trying to implement it. They know if you knew that that is what they were doing, you would resist them implementing it. Therefore, what do? They obfuscate, they lie, they cheat, they steal, they take everything away and try to prevent you from learning history, and then they cover up things to hide them and obfuscate them, only to go out and write history books telling you that these things that you know to be true are not true. So, welcome everybody tonight. If you're new to Q Lounge, I'd like to invite you to check out some of the other episodes here. This is, like I said, season 4, but also this is our family. You are my family. You people, the people that are here, you guys, your support is what keeps us on the air as the MG Show. Your support is what brought back Q Lounge Live. I want to make sure that everybody understands that. Early in the spring, we did we sent out a request for all of you guys to send in emails explaining how you found us, explaining what it was that your experience was with the show. And it was unbelievable for me personally to read everything that you guys wrote about this broadcast and the desire to have me come back and do this. And through Rumble Premium and a couple of other processes, we were able to keep the show on the air. Now we're able to bring you Q Lounge Live, and I would just like to send out a request. If you like this content, if you can afford to help, please do. If you can't, that is 100% fine. Thank you for your prayers. Trust 1961, thank you. I saw Clag was here also earlier. I think it was it Southpaw I saw up here that gave me a nice donation also. Thank you guys. Clag was here, the ultimate Clag. We are a team of patriots who had an experience called Q. All these people, they want to tell you all these different things about what it was that happened to you as an individual. What happened to you as an individual is you had an experience. You read the Q drops as they were coming out. A lot of you read the Q drops as they were coming out. And so as you dig into this, even if you've never seen a Q drop, even if you do not know what Q is, have no idea what it is, you can follow along this broadcast. If you're listening on a podcast, if you're listening anywhere, you can follow along and understand exactly what it is we're saying. This is not hidden secret decoding. This is plain as English things that were said by Q, that were shown by Q to be true. And now we can see clearly that Donald Trump is following through on what it was that the Q drops explained were the problem. Remember, you have two different factions fighting each other. You have the faction group of people that don't want to fix anything. They want to destroy everything. They want to take everything apart. You have those guys, and then you have Donald Trump and patriots in America that are trying to actually solve problems and fix things, because we're tired of hearing people cry. We're tired of hearing people whining. All the whining is getting obnoxious. So this is what they were trying to do, trying to engineer a society full of whiners. Therefore, no one would ever do anything. And if all you do is sit and cry about stuff, guess what? You're going to get hungry at some point. You need some food. Well, to have food, you need to produce something to go get the food. And the next thing you know, they've turned us into a country full of criminals. How did they do it? They did it out of scarcity. They made everything scarce. They made everybody needy. They made everybody think in the terms of survival of the fittest, or in terms of, oh, what am I going to do if this, or what am I, if you're navigating your life in the regards of, oh, what am I going to do if this, or, well, if those different things are where they want you. They want you doing that, because that throws in the doubt, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That throws that in. Thank you, Bonster. Some sticks for the woodpile. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joe Kalupa. We are changing their ideology. Yes, that's exactly right. We have to change ours to change theirs. We have to show an example, like what Donald Trump is doing. Isn't this a great experiment in American politics, where he's showing the example and he's saying you're allowed to follow along, or you're allowed to do your own thing? But think about that. An example. Wow. Could anybody look to the past presidents for an example? Thank you, Yao Ming. Thank you for your contribution to what we're doing here and supporting us at the MG Show, and here on MG Show on Rumble. We're also Truth for Freedom on YouTube, in the Matrix Real MG Show on YouTube. We're on Facebook. If you're over at Facebook, please go leave a comment. We had some great news today. The MG Show is now ranked number 6 on the 70 top Donald Trump podcast survey that was done. We came in at number 6 because the AI, who knew, is actually listening to us talk. And guess what? We're not a bunch of conspiracy theorists. We're a bunch of America First MAGA truth tellers. And that's what we're doing. And God bless all of you. God bless each and every one of you, because this is, and I'm going to continue to say it, this is not an easy thing. What we started here, whenever I started doing this broadcast 8 years ago, I knew this wasn't going to be an easy thing, but I knew that it needed to be said, because there were people that were skipping over the things that needed to be said. And so as we go on and we're watching these things, you have these people like the conspiracy people and the info wars and all these people where they're saying things kind of like what you're saying. At some point, Tucker was saying things kind of like what you're saying. Thank you, Duxes. More sticks for no stones. No stones. But they were saying things kind of like what you're saying. Megan Kelly says things kind of like what you're saying. Thank you, Philly Bud Mama. Love you too. But they weren't saying what you were really thinking. They were saying the things that you wanted to hear. You see, this is how opportunists work. They say the things that you wanted to hear. They kept calling me a grifter. Well, how could I possibly be a grifter if I keep telling you the things that you don't want to hear? I think that the two of us, Jeff and Shannon, have done a pretty good job over the last 8 years of saying things that a lot of people don't want us to say, or that they don't want you to hear. And then all of a sudden you hear it in a certain way, and you're like, oh, wait, wow, I understand that. That makes sense. And all this other stuff didn't make any sense. So a little bit of the story here. If you're new here, you can follow along. If you've been here for a long time, I think this is going to be very eye-opening. We've touched on a number of these issues before. I started out this episode thinking that I was going to be able to get it done in one episode. That is not happening. This is going to be part 1 of possibly a 3-part series, definitely a 2-part series, depending on how far we get. Tonight, I have the new stuff that's coming in. We're going to go over at the top, right off the bat. Each week, we're going to go over some of the cool things that are going on that Q has been doing, or not Q has been doing, but the Q drops have been like finding their way out to certain institutional Twitter channels out there. And so it's kind of interesting. So we're going to get to some of that first. And then we're going to be breaking this down into 3 different segments. First segment, we're going to be breaking down the Q posts regarding the network, or who the network is. What did Q say about the network? Then we're going to move into the next part of which is going to be the history of the op that Q was explaining was the network, who the players are, how they're working, connecting it back to Donald Trump and what it is that he's doing. And then in the third portion of this, however long it takes us, is going to be the esoteric aspect of connecting the quote unquote religion, or the institution of religion that we discussed thoroughly last week on the talking about the bloodline, the bloodline control, or the bloodline families. Well, we're going to connect you back to why it is and exactly who these players are, to show the network that is being dismantled. And normally we would say the network that is the deep state that's controlling us or lording over us. But now we're going to say something different. We're going to say the network that we are dismantling. We are taking it apart. When we say InfoWars is dead, that's very specific, so that people can recognize that there are people out there that have got some sense about them. And this isn't the people that are ignoring all of the conspiracy stuff so that they can stick their head in the sand like ostriches. These are people that are more red-pilled than the people over at InfoWars. So with all of that being said, thank you so much, Miss M80M. Thank you. Truth is a force. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you all for this. Cat Father B. Are we live? We sure are, my friend. The Q Lounge Live is back. You are at season 5, episode 4. And tonight, to start off, we're going to do what we do each and every week. We're going to advertise to you, and we're going to ask you to go over. I'm going to ask you to go over and download the app. We're going to drop a link to you here. I want to get you guys over here to download the app so that you can come over and you can get the links easy and quickly. right here on your phone. You can save this page to your phone home screen. You can click right here. It's going to show you a countdown before any MG show. It's going to give you all of our support us links. It's going to also give you the links to the shows, the links back to Rumble, the links to our Twitter, Facebook, or all of our social media stuff. Thank you so much to Eddie Mike. Big shout out to Eddie Mike out there in the chat for putting all this together for you. There's even, there's links to our Substack. This is our Substack right here. The link is in there, but there's even a little quiz in here so you can see if you, there was a quiz. I don't see the quiz, but there was a quiz in here and some other cool things. And there's the awesome little usses down at the bottom. So thank you so much. And, we just greatly appreciate it. This is an absolute miracle. This is amazing. This is an amazing opportunity. I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed to be here with all of you and to present this to you. So we've got some really cool stuff to talk about tonight, don't we, guys? We went through this earlier, but like I said, each week we're going to be starting off the show with what happened in the world of Q this week. Well, here we have the Department of War has put out, "Are you trusting the plan, Patriot?" This was posted literally 4:07 a.m., July 14th. That would be today, this morning. Are you trusting the plan? And then again, as we all show here, you see I've posted, "When you are awake, you are able to clearly see. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that positions regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma." Which would be the, things like saying, "Oh, Q is a cult." These are dogmatic things to say so that you can ignore information. Choice is yours alone. Trust and put faith in yourself. You are not alone and you are not in the minority. Here we have we have the Trust the Plan song. By the way, if you guys have not heard that, that is absolutely amazing. Let me grab that real quick. I'm just going to drop this link to you guys. And we're not going to have a lot of time for entertainment tonight, necessarily for musical and stuff like that, because we are going to be going like a fire hose as soon as I get started here. And so here okay, now what happened? Trust the plan. We can't. Is this truthful? Is this the truth? Did the Department of War post a meme saying "trust the plan" while saying "are you trusting the plan, Patriot?" Answer to that question is yes. That did occur. 100% happened. Thank you, C-Page. Trusting the plan right here with you, girl. And here are the posts concerning Trust the Plan. Now, there's 39 of these posts. We went over some of them earlier. I'm not going to go over all these posts because the posts we're going to be reading today are concerning some other things, but we are going to do a little review here real quick. Here we have in one of the latest, or one of the last Q posts, Trust the Plan regarding Cassidy Hutchinson. Here we have what you are about to learn should not only scare you, but intensify your resolve to take back control or freedom. That means take back control yourself. That doesn't mean to run around like a bunch of idiots and Proud Boys and try to burn up the Antifa. Taking back control of your freedom means do something productive with your life and make yourself somebody. Okay? Make use of your opportunity, not go out and harm other people because you don't like what they say. The information that will become public will further demonstrate the criminal and corrupt, pure evil abuse of power that the Hussein administration undertook in joint effort with domestic and foreign dignitaries. The snowball has begun rolling, and there is no stopping it now. D5, stay the course and trust the plan. Protective measures are in place. Remain brave. We knew this day would come. United we stand. Where we go, one we go. Worldwide. Where we go, one we go all. We fight conspiracy no more. This is just a couple examples of where Trust the Plan was. Trust the Plan in regards to the FISA. Currently, FISA has been ended. Isn't that interesting? Nobody even talks about that. This right here was the meme that I used in the third Q Lounge live that we did, I can't remember which one it was. This meme was put out, and this one also, this meme was tagged Trust the Plan. Also, we have where many of us have lost some family and friends over sharing this information. Looked like conspiracy theorists have gone off the deep end. We're sticking with you, Q. We trust the plan. Do not force those not yet ready. See, this is the reason people buckle up and they call you a cult and they say all this crazy nonsense. Do not force those not yet ready. The fake news narrative, make-believe, has been ingrained for a long time. Do not isolate yourself within your own family Dark to light, truth will shine, impossible to defend, impossible to ignore. Stay strong. You are not alone, patriots all. That just means that whenever the news comes out about all this stuff, nobody's going to be able to sit there and tell you that what's happening isn't happening. But again, here we are sitting here watching it happen, and people are sitting there telling you that what is happening isn't happening. I use this meme as also for a long time. You and Q POTUS are most definitely in control. Trust the plan. Where we go, when we go, all Godspeed. And again, like I said, 39 times, trust the plan was written. Trust the plan. Now, there are two trust the plans. There trust the plan like us, trust the plan we're going to get these fools, and there's them, trust the plan to get Trump. They have a plan to get Trump. We have a plan to get rid of them. Two different meanings of trust the plan, depending on which drop you're reading. Some of these contain stuff relevant to Flynn and a bunch of his cronies, which you can clearly see some of the moves that they are going to make before they ever made them if we were looking in the right spot. So I think that that's extremely interesting that we have that post today. Here we are, the day of the Q Lounge. And then this morning we have Trust the Plan post so that we can make sure that we get a little bit of presence from them here today. Here we have another interesting thing, an interesting post. All three posted at 3:55 p.m. Eastern Time. Donald Trump explained, and we had on the Q Lounge talking to you guys about Lindsey Graham and all of the craziness that's going on around Lindsey Graham and the way everybody's hating on him. But the reality was he stayed with us. He stuck with us. He did everything we asked him to do. Trump asked him to do. And then all of the people that have been, trying to bring you doom and gloom, this network that we're talking about the network, that network was activated around Lindsey Graham, telling you he's horrible, he's bad, he's all these things. These three drops all came out at the exact same time at 3:55. And here, no name absent and near Q. That is a hat tip to Lindsey. See that? All these posted at the same time. 3 posts made all within 16 seconds. 16 seconds. Trust the plan. So I find that absolutely fascinating. Look at what we're able to show. Look at what we're really able to show whenever we take this stuff apart. And here we have, hang on, what do we got here? Uh-oh.
My pillows are the most comfortable.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Mitch McConnell. I'm a huge My Pillow fan. And I'm Mike. My pillows are the most comfortable pillows you'll ever own. The quality is outstanding. Get your My Pillow today. You won't regret it.
Use code MGSHOW. Get the best sleep of your life. My Pillow is the way to go. Don't wait. Order now.
Hi, I'm Mitch McConnell. I'm a huge My Pillow fan. And I'm Mike.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff, for your impromptu or your nicely done little cameo appearance there for our My Pillow commercial. Get over there if you're supporting My Pillow. If you need a My Pillow, get over there. Use code MGSHOW while you are there. So couple little cool things to show you that happened with Q, talking about Trust the Plan, coming out today to explain to all of us who followed this. And I'm going to slow down here for just a second. All of us who followed this understood something very critical. Anything that we read was up for our own analysis. Not everything that was being printed was saying that this is being written because it is rock solid truth. What it was saying was, we are writing a bunch of things that we want you to go look into, and you're not going to believe what you're going to find. And so what we've all done, all of us here that are part of this environment, is that we went out and we looked and we read what we found, and we agreed with the analysis of like, oh my goodness, I can't believe what's really there. So throughout this project here to do this episode, however long it turns out to be, what we're going to analyze the problem of the world, how it was engineered, how it was developed, how it was incubated, how it's been kept secret, how Q exposed the underbelly of it. And since Q has exposed the underbelly of what it was that actually is going on in countries like North Korea and Iran, the whole conversation has shifted. Things went from being problem, reaction, solution to competence in the White House. You've only had problem, reaction, solution in the White House until 2016. And during Joe Biden's, you had more of it. The solution or the goal is to engineer a solution to your problems. If you have a problem in life, don't exacerbate it. Look for a solution. Think about fixing it. Think about bearing down and maybe doing some other things or not participating in that or getting rid of some maybe bad influences in your life. Whatever it might be, you can change. And this is what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the idea of cause and effect, and the world of evil wants you to live in the world of effect. Woe is me. I wish I would have, if I could, but I didn't. I doubt. Now I can't. All this stuff. Effect. Start living in the world of cause. Generate what it is that you want for yourself. Don't have expectations for other people to do it for you. So here, what we're going to do is I have selected first 22 Q posts regarding North Korea and Iran. A number of these that we've read before regarding Iran, but the way this is going to intertwine is going to show you a pattern of operations that you can consistently see. Once you see this, once you see how the network works, once you see how the ancient network is working currently, and you see how Donald Trump exposed them with Q, and after he exposed them with Q, all he had to do was follow through on what it was, the directive that was put forth in the post that we're going to read. We're going to read the post that say what the problem is. We're going to read the post that say who the people are that are the problem. And then we're going to read what Q said we were going to do about it. Then we're going to compare that to what Donald Trump says then and what we're actually seeing today. So if you guys are all ready, thank you so much again for everybody being here. I see in the Matrix out there. Hey, Jeff, how you doing, buddy? Thank you so much for coming over. And man, we went back yesterday to the very first Twitter. The very first time I sent him a message on Twitter, it's still there at the top of our DMs. What an amazing thing that's happened here, man. Unbelievable, really. So here we go, guys. Are you ready? Let's see. I'm not sure how long this is all going to take, but we're going to be very thorough. We're not going to dilly-dally around very much. We're going to kind of be just going as hard as we can go up until the end of the show today. And it's going to be a continuation. Literally jumping in right where we leave off today, however far we get to. I probably have double the amount ready than what we can even talk about here because it's so big, but there's so many things that need to be connected so that all of us can get on the same page. And I want to give you something that's easy for people to understand. This is going to be a little bit long, but it's not going to be complicated to understand. And that's what's important. And I think that, that's one of the great things about having and being able to work with Jeff is being able to understand the things that are important and prioritize the way these guys, the network wants to prioritize things that are detrimental to you, and it wants to suppress things that could really show you some things, could really show you a way out sometimes, a way to engineer a better cause for yourself. So right here, you can clearly see at the top, these highlighted areas here, these are the numbers of the posts we're going to be reading, so that you can go back and review them for yourself. If you'd like to, you find something interesting or something that you want to reference, or what you're going to see is, I think you're going to have some light bulb moments as we read through this. Even though I know a lot of you have read these posts, I'd like for you to just, hang in there and let's just see where we end up. A number of these that are in the original are in the first 128, but a number of them are outside of it. So we're going to learn. Post number 29, posted literally the third day after Q began posting on 11/1, says some things must remain classified to the very end. North Korea is not being run by Kim. He's an actor in the play. Who is the director? Meaning it's not Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-il or any of those people. The truth would sound so outrageous, most Americans would riot, revolt, and reject it. In other words, reject the notion. This is post 29. The pedo network are being dismantled. The child abductions for satanic rituals regarding Haiti and other third world countries are paused, not terminated until players are in custody. We pray every single day for God's guidance and direction as we are truly up against pure evil. Post 39 posted the very next day. Would it blow your mind if I told you Barack Obama had been to North Korea and perhaps even there now? Why did his administration do little to slow their nuclear and missile capability? Who feeds North Korea with strategic intel? Iran? That's answering its own question. You're going to see the correlation between Iran and North Korea over and over and over again. Very specific reason Q was doing that. What deal was done with Iran under Barack Obama? Why was the deal sealed under a top secret classification? Why wasn't Congress notified? Why, after Barack Obama left office, all of a sudden North Korea has nukes and the tech to miniaturize for a payload delivery within the U.S.? What about the NSA, the CIA, the DI, etc.? All confirming tech won't be in place for 5+ years, statements made in 2016. Why is all of this relevant as what does it tell you? Big picture is rare. Big picture here means that this is an operation by the media to obfuscate and to act like a boogeyman was going to threaten us or that we were subject to their threats. Post 41. Same day. What a coincidence that the mountain that housed North Korea's nuclear weapons and testing collapsed. Unbelievable timing. I wonder if critically important materials as well as scientists, aka the bomb makers, were inside when it happened. Shocking. No global news agency suspects we had nothing to do with it? Enjoy the crumbs. Now I'd like to point to you to the example that you have in Iran under Operation, Midnight Hammer, I think. Whenever they sent the B-2s over there, this is exactly what I think happened to the mountain that North Korea was building their nukes in, and this was Q explaining that that's what happened. But couldn't the media go out and report that? No, they can't. This is the same day. I'm bringing your attention back to this. This is post 50. This is 11/2/2017 for the people who maybe didn't follow Q. This is right in the very beginning of the drops that were coming out. Even Q doesn't start signing the drops until after post 60, but did confirm all of these drops were from him or them. Okay, big drop. Very simple stuff. Big drop. How did North Korea obtain uranium? How did Iran obtain uranium? We know that, don't we? Why did Barack Obama send billions in cash and wire to Iran? Because after we got them the uranium, they needed the money to create threats and engineer weaponry and buy off, pay off, send terrorism, outsourcing terrorism from Iran, essentially, is what the money was for. Why the cash component? So that it can't be traced. Was the hostage component a cover? For what? Could any of the cash component be handed off to other people? How many planes carried the cash into Iran? Did all them land in Iran? Did all them land in the same location? Why is this relevant? Who controls North Korea? Why did it go immediately into North Korea? Who really controls North Korea? Don't think of a single person. Think of a powerful entity. Why is this important? Why are wars so important? Who benefits? Why are wars so important? Do you want to get up in war? Tell me truly, you, a human being, you wake up in the morning. Do you want to go to war? Do you think that other people that live on this earth want to just go to war? Do people wake up and want to go, or do powerful entities want to go to war? What's a powerful entity? A globalist, a controller, a family head, a king, the person that other people look to for what to do next. How else can you define this? Why is this important? Why are wars so important? Who benefits? Who benefits from war? Do human beings ever benefit from war? What does hostage refer to? Who can be held hostage and controlled by North Korea having miniaturized nuclear weapons? Where's Barack Obama today? Where's Valerie Jarrett, Alice in Wonderland? 71, post 11-4, 2 days later. Follow Huma. This is not Huma Abedin. This is Harvard University Muslim alumni. Not Huma Abedin, all caps. All caps is very relevant in the Q drops of exactly what they're talking about. Who connects HRC Clinton Foundation to Saudi Arabia? SA. Why is this relevant? Who is the Muslim Brotherhood? Who has ties to the Muslim Brotherhood? Who is AWAN? What is AWAN Group? Where do they have offices? Why is this relevant? Define cash laundering. What is the relationship between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan? Why is this relevant? And why would Saudi Arabia provide tens of millions of dollars to the U.S. senior government officials? And why does Saudi Arabia obtain in exchange for what do they obtain in exchange for payment? Why is access important? And what happened when HRC lost the election of 2016? How much money was provided to the Clinton Foundation by Saudi Arabia during 15-16? Or the years 15 and 16? HRC loss of access, power control. Does repayment of the funds to Saudi Arabia occur? If so, how? Why did Barack Obama send billions in cash to Iran? See, what did they use that money for? Initially, they were going to use it for one thing, then maybe they had to use some of it for other things. Why wasn't Congress notified, and why was this classified under state secrets, and who has access to the state secrets? I'd like to bring up the fact that Donald Trump says this. No one else in public ever says this. No one else in public, no TV, no radio, no news person, no broadcaster ever talks about why did the planes carry all that cash from the banks over to Iran, except your president, who was literally talking about it today. He mentions it every time he gets the opportunity. Why would he mention that so many times and it be in the Q post? Oh, wait, maybe they have relevance to one another. How many planes carried the cash? Why is this relevant? What does this have to do with North Korea? What does this have to do with Saudi Arabia and the Clinton Foundation cash donations? What does it have to do with ISIS? It was creating ISIS. What does this have to do with the slush funds? What are the slush funds used for? Bringing it back to America through the 501c4s and Arabella advisor networks. Follow the money. Who has the money? What is happening in Saudi Arabia today? And this was referencing all of the takedown of the corruption in Saudi Arabia. We discussed on MG Show today all of the corruption, a very similar takedown that just occurred in Iraq inside the green zone with people that do have business relationships with those of the Bushite generation, or neocons, if you will. What events transpired directly thereafter? How was POTUS greeted compared to other former presidents when in Saudi Arabia? The relevant stuff in this was talking about North Korea. I'm going to skip over a little bit of this. Post 140, wealth over generations buys power. And power over generations buys more wealth and control. Is that hard to understand? Am I decoding some cryptic thing with my little ring that I ordered from the magazine to understand what this means right here? Wealth over generations buys power. Power over generation buys more wealth and control. More wealth and control buys the countries and its people. Families combined, three will equal the NWO. The NWO, remember, the NWO represents problem, reaction, solution. We represent fixing it. We don't need it. We don't need to create more problems. We're trying to fix the problem to start with. They're trying to engineer more problems so that they can make you weaker. What is the keystone? What nation dominates all others? What nation has influence over most others? What is the keystone? Return to Saudi Arabia, strings cut. 3 pluses, puppets 3 in shadows. Each side of the triangle controls a certain subsect of power broker. The power brokers are also labeled as the puppets or the servants. What's the New World Order? Why did POTUS receive a sword dance when visiting Saudi Arabia? What does this mean culturally? We could skip down over a couple of these to, what if China, Russia, and others are coordinating with POTUS to eliminate the New World Order? Who controls North Korea? Who really controls North Korea? who controls several agencies within the United States, the European Union, and abroad. Why is no such agency so vital? Enormous scale of events currently ongoing. Why is Russia helping to kill ISIS? This is not easy to accept nor believe. Crumbs make bread. Operations active, joint missions underway. You see the pattern that's being painted here. This is in North Korea. Post 193, 1122. The post you've been reading, this most recent one was 1111. This is post 1122. In sequence, not very far from the other ones. Who really controls North Korea? That's not telling you something. That's asking you to go find out something or to listen closer. Uranium One goes from Canada to the European Union to Asia to Iran into North Korea. Uranium One into Canada, into EU, into Asia, into Iran, into North Korea. All these idiots out there acting like that they know stuff. Nobody knows this. Nobody talks about this. We can prove that this happened. We know what Mueller did. We because of Q, we understand these things. Everybody says, "Oh, Q didn't ever reveal anything of any type of importance." Really? Did you know North Korea was a boogeyman state controlled by rogue generals and those of the globalist secret society order before Q? Yes or no? Answer is no, you didn't. Iran deal? Why is this relevant? Reread the drops regarding North Korea and Iran. What does it mean to be covered in gold? Which couple was photographed covered in gold? The public release was a mistake. Who released the picture? Who has all the information? What does it mean to be covered in gold? Can you locate one other pic with the Y head covered in gold? What does it represent? Sum of all fears. 3 sides of the pyramid. Problem, reaction, solution. New World Order. That's your enemy. The New World Order are the people that are talking through Megyn Kelly. The New World Order are the people talking through Tucker Carlson. The New World Order are the people talking through all these people that are trying to get Tyler Robinson off, Candace Owens and such. That is the chaos agents. They are not trying to solve anything. They are running away from something that's already been solved, trying to act like it's confusing when it's not confusing at all. It's not confusing. It's not even confusing a little bit. It's not even partially confusing. It's very, very simple. Extremely simple. Moving on. And some of these I'm going to be pretty thorough, but there's a couple of these that I can skip around a little bit in, but this is fascinating to me. I hope you're enjoying it. 17 in the chat right now. If you're enjoying looking back and you're seeing, are you understanding 17? If you're understanding that Iran is a boogeyman state, just like North Korea. It's not any different. It's the same people. Thank you. Because there's a lot of people out there that are having a hard time with this. Case in point. Probably aligns with the same people believe and promote that the CIA controls Iran. And it's all kayfabe to further deplete reality and critical thinking. That's exactly what Q's message was that the CIA and the clowns control Iran and North Korea. 100% what Q's message was. But here you have a little turncoat that somehow knew the information, came to our channel, was part of all of us for however long, saw everything that we did, but hiding in the shadows. Ready to strike like a viper. Started introducing the poison pill for InfoWars and Alex Jones and Brendan Dilley that Q was Epstein and Bannon. Yes, you heard me right. This is where it comes from. InfoWars is saying that Q was Bannon and Epstein. Narrative pushers. They're everywhere. All we can do is spot them whenever they rear their ugly heads, ladies and gentlemen. And that's exactly what we do. Without friend or favor. It just is what it is. Bless you all for being here. Post number 236 of the Epstein Bannon drops. Tech. Focus on Hussein revelations coming very, very soon. Huma, all caps, Saudi Arabia, Hussein, HLR first, civil rights attorney, 13th district of the Senate, DNC, Hussein versus Hillary Clinton versus McCain. Power struggle, inner power struggle. Follow the money pre-president. Why is this relevant? Follow the money pre-president. Follow the connections pre-president between Hussein, HRC, and McCain. Why does Hussein travel ahead of the president? Why did Hussein travel behind the president? Think Asia, think North Korea. What was told regarding North Korea during the past 8 years? That they could blow us all up. What dramatic shift occurred regarding North Korea post-election of the president? Reconcile. Basically, they said they were working on getting a missile so that they could blow us up. But at the moment the president was elected, it went from being 3 or 4 years out to being tomorrow. So then he had to blow up the mountain. Reconcile, define hostage, sum of all fears. Why are sexual harassment claims against all appearing suddenly? This is kind of like skipping. I need to skip. Well, I'll just read it. The sum of all fears. Why are sexual harassment claims all appearing suddenly? Coincidence. What is a pill? When is it hard to swallow? It's hard to swallow a pill whenever you're emotionally connected to an outcome or an event. You get all wound up, emotionally connected to something. It's hard to let go. It's hard to swallow. It's hard to relent, but you can do it whenever you know it's true. You have to be able to move when you can prove things that are true with your own eyes. That's your responsibility as a human being. How do you remove your enemies from positions of influence and authority? Define stages. Define puppets. Define puppet handlers. We're talking nation states, guys. We're not talking like Lady Gaga and Tom Hanks here. You're talking nation states. How do you remove your enemies from positions of influence and authority? In other words, the enemies are embedded in the governments and the institutions of these countries in a way that where they influence stuff from the inside out. How do you get rid of them? Define stages, define puppets, define puppet handlers, define a proxy war. Define proxy war. Define proxy war. Why would you say that 3 times? What's a proxy war? It's fake. It's a show. It's optics. Expand your thinking. Why is justice stalling the release of classified level info? Think. Does POTUS control all the matters classified? Think. Have faith. These people are losers. Here we're now almost done. We're at 237, post 237. Right here we are. Q started on 10/38/2017. 10/28/2017. This is 11/30/2017. This is right at a month after the first Q drops. This is most every drop related to North Korea and Iran, or not Iran. Every drop related to North Korea, mostly all the ones related to Iran in the first couple hundred. Are you already seeing a pattern? Is this corresponding? Are you seeing correspondence? We talked in episode 1 about correspondence theory and the idea of reality matching something you see or say, matching the reality of something that you can see or say. You can clearly see this stuff. What if North Korea had miniature nuke payload delivery in 2004? What if North Korea had an ICBM capability since 2009? What if the previous tests that failed were staged? Why would this be relevant? Who is involved and why? Biggest cover up in our history. Does that sound small to you? Okay, so let's say for a second this isn't true. None of this is true. This didn't happen. The uranium one didn't go. They set it all up. It was all pretend. The uranium wasn't really in the mountain in North Korea. You know, guys, if we get access to the stuff that's in the mountain in North Korea, you know we're going to be 100% without a doubt able to completely determine that the uranium one came from America into North Korea. Do you think that got there with like the mullahs were really like, you know, operating like independently of the globalists? These people that walk around in robes with the goats. Biggest cover up in our history. The uranium one can't. Why? Okay, so now think logically. If they did send this to Iran and North Korea, why? Why did they do it? If not to create a nuclear weapon to threaten the world with. That Donald Trump is constantly saying the problem is North Korea or Iran having a nuclear weapon. That's the problem. He's never stopped saying that. He's been saying that for decades. Q said it here. So we're showing you what Q said. We're going to go back here in a few minutes and we're going to see what Donald Trump said then. Also, I have that prepared for you as well. We're going to be very, very thorough with this. This one is regarding South Korea. And this had to do with, this was around the time that Pence was going to South Korea. You had posted a meme with Barack Obama and the Red Cross, kind of some comms that were coming out. Red Cross, red, North Korea, Hussein, Asia. Why was this stringer sent out? Decode, News Unlocks message, future proofs past. Where is the Red Cross? Do you guys know where the Red Cross headquarters actually is in the world? Who knows? Don't you run to Google. Who knows where the headquarters of Red Cross is? It runs deep. Children, pray. Here we have post 425. Miss M80M. Yes, Switzerland. That is correct. Geneva. Yes, Paula. Mikey. Yes. I love you guys. Everybody gets it right. Been doing this a while, haven't we, guys? Here, this one is a kind of talking about the issue that happened that day, defined shutdown. This was relevant to the airport. Why was Atlanta shut down? Will North Korea be shut down? Who controls North Korea? Leverage. Remove the leverage to capture the flag. What's the leverage? Okay. Remove the leverage to capture the flag. Remove the leverage to capture the flag. Is that the game we're playing? Capture the flag to end the rule. Capture the flag to end the rule. In the rule of who? Who controls North Korea? Trust. Trust what? Not the plan. Not the plan to expose them. Not the plan to show them to you. Not the plan to make the things they destroyed right. We can fix it. See that right there? Capture the flag to end the rule. Look what we're doing with Iran. I'm showing you this stuff so you can see right down the barrel of the gun from where this is coming from. This is not ambiguous. This is 1-to-1. We are not decoding. We are reading factual information that we can prove. We can prove these things occurred. Everything that we're talking about here. This is not made up. This is not a cult experience. You're allowed to interpret any of this stuff the way you want to, by the way. I am not telling you that you have to interpret it this way. What I'm here to tell you is that I'm interpreting it this way, and it looks pretty clear to me. I can't fix, whatever issue you might have. What do clowns do with the access codes and the tech? Who controls North Korea? This is like 100 times this has been asked. Who really controls North Korea? Not really, but a lot. 25. What families are protected using leverage? Bank and financial leverage for North Korea? Haven't we been telling you about the MG show about all of these EU companies that have all of this investment in Iran? Why would they invest in Iran, in a country that's threatening to blow them up and take the money and take their cut off of the oil? Why wouldn't they just try to starve them out and put sanctions on them and isolate them and try to stop them from doing things if they were such a threat? Why would you be sending in your bank and financial institutions to actually run the system if you have nothing to do with it and they're actually a threat to the world? Our logic is going to kick in here at some point. We're going to read the whole thing again right there. We're going to start again. We're going to read this whole thing again. What do clowns do with the access codes and the tech? Who controls North Korea? Who really controls North Korea? What families are protected using leverage? Bank and financial leverage? Question mark. Nuke, strike, package, leverage? Why is Iran protected? Why is Iran funded by the United States? What news about Iran broke? Drugs? What about weapons of mass destruction? Why did Brennan and others provide false intel regarding North Korea's capability plus Iran tech nuke development? Plateful, have faith. Right there you have it. John Brennan lived in Iran whenever he was a hippie. He could speak Farsi. That guy became your CIA director. The CIA director is an Iranian asset. Always has been from the moment. He's a communist in high school, in college, guys. Brennan was a communist in college. You can go look it up. So this guy ends up being the communist, ends up as being the CIA who helps cover up the North Korea's capability so that they could develop it. And then whenever Donald Trump won the presidency, they were like, oh, we got to use this because Donald Trump is going to screw up our whole game here of controlling the president because he has the ability to see what we're doing and mess up what we're doing. That's why the whole thing went bonkers after Q started to post this type of information. Look at the way the media characterized Q from the jump. Here we have post 437. A look inside. Just imagine North Korea like a James Bond film, their own little bit of hell. Can you imagine with the cash they have stole what they could have built on North Korea paychecks? They work or die for free. So this is an image from the James Bond movie, but it's giving you this image to show you an example of what it is they show you in movies and what it is that they were actually building that we blew up in the mountains of North Korea without anybody ever really saying a word about it. 2011 shuttle program terminated by Hussein. U.S. loses space dominance. Iran nuke deal. North Korea nuke missile tech. SpaceX. NASA tech to where? NASA tech to Iran and North Korea so that they can utilize and develop missiles and their centrifuges. NASA tech to where? Hey, that was a nice motorcycle out there. That was a big one. HRC SAP's private server. Connected. Money. Pockets. Eye of Ra. Left eye marker. Symbolism. Evil, stupid justice. This right here brings in the esoteric aspect of the secret societies and what they believe. Remember, this has absolutely nothing to do. You're going to have to suspend to some degree what it is that you think and believe to understand what they think and believe, because some of the times the stuff that they think and believe is so outrageous, you can't possibly believe that they believe it. So you have to suspend disbelief so that you can recognize what they believe so you can understand the gravity and the absurdity of what they're doing. They hide in the absurd. That's why they're generating the absurd, because it's absurd to go out there and tell people, oh, look, oh, North Korea is doing, it's going to take me 3 episodes to explain this. Possibly 2, but I doubt it. I mean, where are we now? Oh, look at this. We're almost to the top of the hour already. So yeah, this is going to take a minute. We're in, 570. We still got a number of these to read through. This is, will Sessions drop the hammer? This is kind of irrelevant to the North Korea stuff in the top part, but there was a section here that I needed to bring this in. Okay, here we go. Snowden, open source, Prism, key score, catastrophic to the U.S. military versus the bad actors. This is where it's explaining that what Snowden did was exposing things that he should, that were let's say operations within that were good guys investigating bad guys. Snowden came out and exposed to the bad guys that they were being investigated by said quote unquote good guys. That's what Snowden did. That's why he had to go to Russia. That's why he's still in Russia. Clowns to no such agency. So effectively U.S. military versus bad actors worldwide, plus clowns and no such agency, target to weaken conservative base. Regarding the IRS, the mainstream media. Here it is, blind eye North Korea nuke build. They turned a blind eye to North Korea building nukes. Classification 1, 2, and 3. The blind eye Iran. Fund and supply. What does fund and supply mean? I need some help out there. It must be kayfabe. The funding and the supplying. It must be really kayfabe out there. All the funding and supplying that went on for the last 100 years in Iran. Iran was responsible for World War I and World War II, by the way, everybody. The oil in Iran was literally, OPEC was created by the clowns. OPEC was created by the clowns to control the price of oil and to make American oil scarce so that we start fighting each other instead of have plenty for ourselves. fund and supply. That sounds a lot like, oh, they're out there on their own, just creating their own super state. Iran is a super state. Yeah, big old scared boogeyman over there. Blind Eye, classified 23 through 41. Uranium One funds supply. Iran, North Korea, reduce U.S. capacity. Kill NASA, prevent space dominance. Allow bad actors to take down the military satellites worldwide. Secure comms, install weapons of mass destruction. Risk of EMP or space origin. Helpless or original. Not sure. Risk of EMP, space originate, maybe. Class 1 through 99, HRC 8, World War III, death and weapons, real, war, fake, and controlled. Population growth, control pockets of billions. This is explaining to you that war is fake. Population, too many people on planet Earth is fake. This is not real. This is to scare you and to make you make different decisions, to make you think that you're somehow less than or you shouldn't be something that you want to be. All of these things to control you mentally. Eliminate the final rogue ops within the government and the military. This is what their plan was. Kill the economy, open the borders, revise the Constitution, ban the sale of firearms, the 16-year plan. It's all right here. Allow weapons grade uranium into Iran and North Korea first. Then do all of these things. What do you do if they do that? There's literally nothing you can do. If this goes forward, you are done. Not do, you're done. Done, well done. Here you have, I think we went over this meme last week also, but North Korea, look, here you go. You just tell me, what do you see here? North Korea is a CIA black site. Operation Mockingbird is a CIA media control. Who in the media right now is glorifying North Korea to spite the Trump administration? Who in the media right now is glorifying Iran to spite the Trump administration? Time to take the offensive. Let's start taking names for all the journalists that propagate North Korea. Let's not let them hide behind their banners anymore. Let's play hunt the spook. Ask yourself, why is North Korea participating in the Olympic Games? Ask yourself, why is the sister with Pence? Ask yourself, if controlled, how might you protect yourself and look for a way out? Ask yourself, what is a distraction? Ask yourself, why did Korea come together as a country versus North and South? What occurred in Asia just prior to the games? What does freed mean? Ask yourself, do we want a war? Ask yourself, who's trying to start a war? Ask yourself, if a missile was launched by rogue actors, what would be the purpose? This is whenever they launched a missile at Air Force One from Washington, and they told you it was a helicopter taking off on the news. We saw the missile launch. What would or should immediately start a war? They were trying to start a war by taking out the president, blaming it on somebody else. They were going to blame it on Iran. And then all of a sudden, Iran was going to have nukes. So, even after Trump was in there, their plan was still unfolding. Their plan, it ended up being a continuity of government plan that took Trump out at the end. The reason nobody was doing anything Trump was telling him at the end was because the devolution continuity of government plan was a plan to upend the Trump administration and effectively stop him from ever becoming the president again. That's what this Jesuit network here did, and that's what we're going to prove in this broadcast that occurred. Be the audience we know you are. Those who cannot understand that we cannot simply start arresting without first ensuring the safety and well-being of the population, shifting the narrative, removing those in D.C., though, resignations to ensure the success, defeating ISIS, MS-13 to prevent fail-safes. You got to defeat them. Antifa, ISIS, MS-13. Look at all this. All this was built by the money that went to Iran. Obama said that he was going to create an army. He created the army. You're looking at it. The network. You're looking at it. Freezing assets to remove network-to-network abilities. Kill of chain of command to prevent top-down comms or originating, et cetera, should not be participating in discussions. Host 751. Here we are now. At this point, we are at 213. February the 13th, 2018. So this would be 4 months-ish after Q's initial post. A little bit more, right? November, December, 3.5. Operation Merlin Tech. Look this up. Iran, North Korea. It's not differentiating here. Iran deal funding, Iran, North Korea, T-cells, payoffs, North Korea nuclear mini ICBMs, war engine protection, insurance protection, blackmail. How do you blackmail? Well, you need a nuke if you're going to blackmail the world into capitulating to your demands and do what you say. Why did Kim travel to China? Why was travel impossible in the past? What changed? What constitutes the need for a face-to-face meeting versus a secure call so that Trump can make a deal with him personally? Have you noticed that since this moment, 3/28/2018, how much nonsense have we experienced out of North Korea? I think maybe 2 or 3 missiles they've launched in the last 8 years. Before Donald Trump, it was nothing but North Korea, North Korea, North Korea, North Korea, North Korea news 24/7, whether it be Republican news, conservative news, alternative news, InfoWars news. It was all about North Korea gonna kill you, bro. Gonna come get you. Gonna have to protect yourself. Go get some. Go buy some stuff. Go protect yourself against the doom and gloom that Donald Trump, in my opinion, has stopped. What U.S. publicly traded company previously entered North Korea to establish comms? Ooh, now. Traveling into North Korea to establish comms? Oh, we're going to be talking about that soon enough. Think logically. Why did Google visit North Korea? Why would the former chairman and CEO himself of Google and Alphabet personally attend? Who's Sergey Brin? Where was Sergey born? Russia. Track the family. Important. Think Cold War. Think KGB. U.S., China, North Korea 3. Facebook data dump. Who made it public? Who sold shares 30 days from the announcement? You can't imagine the magnitude of this. Constitutional crisis, Twitter coming, Google coming, Amazon coming, Microsoft coming, plus 12. Current censorship relates to the push for power regarding midterms, last stand. This goes into some election fraud stuff. Like I said, some of these things we can kind of skip over. Biden, China, very important marker. Who made it public? Who really made it public? Q did. Who's making it all public? We are the gatekeepers of all. By all, we mean all information. Uranium 1 to Canada, to the EU, to Russia, to Iran, to North Korea, to Syria, to Pakistan, to Iran. Next. You think that this just passes through all of these countries? How can this pass through all these countries if all these countries are afraid of the country that ended up with the nuclear material? All the countries that are on this list are afraid of Iran, but they all set back and their governments allowed this stuff to pass through, and we're supposed to believe that Iran is like, you know, a legitimate nation state that can stand up against American might? That was all fake. Trump proved that was fake in 10 seconds to you. Iran next, $700 billion military this year. Why is the military so important? Read all. National security, national security. These people are stupid. Art of the deal, tidal wave incoming. Buckle up. Like North Korea, they have been freed. Assets on the ground. Think Saudi Arabia. Order is important. Saudi Arabia to North Korea. North Korea to Armenia. Armenia to Iran. Iran to, I believe that's Israel. Any other rogue nuclear states? Define hostage. Define protection. Who is protected by rogue nuclear states? Trust the plan. The world is connected. We are border states like Arizona. Why are border states like Arizona and California important? Because they can utilize bringing these people in here. Why is Mexico vocal against the president? Because they don't like it whenever he starts trying to say, we're tired of you sending your people here. Those who are the loudest. Where we go, when we go, all the Great Awakening, Iron Eagle. Post, here we are at post 423, 2018. Wake up, learn, question, fight. Red Cross Iran, Red Cross Pakistan, Red Cross North Korea, Red Cross ... Define smuggle. What is smuggled? What are they smuggling? What funds are used to pay for the goods that they've smuggled? Probably nothing. They're probably not really smuggling anything. They're their own nation state. That's their own might. They've built up their own military. They are absolutely a behemoth in war going back to the Dark Ages. Iran. Get the blank out of here with that nonsense. There will be no civil war. Coordinated mainstream media hysteria designed to instill fear, change narratives. Similar thing they were doing to North Korea. This is the same thing that they were doing with you in Iran. North Korea is not advancing their weapons programs. Coordinated mainstream media hysteria designed to instill fear and change the narrative. And finally, in the 22nd post that I chose to read here today, do you remember when the media had wall-to-wall live in fear coverage regarding North Korea? Do you remember when Hawaii accidentally sounded the incoming missile alarm? What happened? North Korea no longer a nuclear threat. Mountain collapsed. China seeking North Korea. Commitment to fire short, long-range ballistic missiles pre-election. Q. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I think that is I think that is a very robust, clear explanation of what it is that's going on in the world regarding Iran and North Korea. And regarding what it is, who it is that's at the center of this, and what it is they're trying to say that we are compared to what it is that we really are. And there you see the example showing you the narrative that's being put out there regarding the what people are changing their mind and trying to say what Q was. Q was simply a source of information for you to read and to understand and to go look and see if we can find out any of these things are true. So, living in the spirit of that, what do? Well, we read the Q drops. Now we're going to move into the phase. We actually have one more to go through and an analysis of it. And then it's going to move into this phase of the series. It's going to show you the proof of everything that we just read. So everything that we just read regarding North Korea and Iran, we're going to, in the next segment, we're going to work on proving to you that those things that Donald Trump said, those things that Q said in the past are connected to what it is that we were going to do in Iran so that you could talk to these people that act like, oh, you're doing a forever war. You're a neocon. You're this, you're that. Donald Trump is acting like George Bush. Oh, no, he is not. Donald Trump is acting like you would in the situation. If you were in charge, what would you do? You would do the things that Donald Trump does. That's what the establishment can't take. They can't take the way that we like him. The reason that we like him is because he is doing, at least fairly closely, the things that you would do if you were put in that situation. So let's dig into the next section of this. Here we're going to talk about Q post number 845, which is, which was the window? There we go. Interestingly enough, it brings up at Snowden. Welcome to China. Oh, I goes, welcome to China. Oh, yeah, he went through China into Russia. Border crossing 3. So in other words, how's he able to just skip around with that passport whenever he's been flagged and get into Russia to begin with? Spartans in darkness. What's the Spartan? Let's see. You think this is Spartans in darkness? That's what's your opinion? That's the dang dog Q thing. It's saying all this decoding stuff. We gotta get the decoding going. You know what I'm saying? This doesn't seem very hard to decode. It says right here, Spartans in darkness. So then you take that and you plug it into Google, and then you come up with this: Spartans in darkness, American Signet, or however you say it, signal intelligence, SIGINT. An Indo-China War from 1945 to 1975. And now I'm getting ready to start reading this whole document. I'm kidding. But I had to give you a minute there. Not going to read this whole document. But what I have done for you, as you like head for the hills, is I have a book report. Yes. So I have us a little book report. Grok did us a book report. I said, I need a good book report on this. I've read this stuff, and the link is going to be provided for you here if you'd like to go and read this, and you can decide for yourself if Grok is full of crap about his analysis of this. But for me, having read it and read what Grok shared was I haven't read all of it, but generalizing, understanding what it is. It's a pretty good summation. Spartans of Darkness, Americans SIGINT, and the Indo-China War. Major declassifications from 07 to 08, roughly 500-page official, but usually candid cryptologic history It is available via the link you provided in the archive here at the PDF. A longtime NSA historian draws on classified archives to chronicle U.S. signals intelligence efforts across the French colonial phase, early U.S. advisory years, full-scale commitment air campaigns, the Tet, Vietnamization, and the final collapse. It is not a general Vietnam War history. It's a detailed operational and analytic account of how American cryptologists intercept operators, Spartans, operating in darkness. Spartans in darkness are clowns operating behind the scenes to affect people to make decisions and media to have narratives. Clowns, Spartans. Finding teams, airborne platforms, and shore stations collected, processed, and reported on Viet Minh, North Vietnamese, and the Viet Cong communications. Case content and key revelations. The book follows a clear chronological thematic structure. Early limited efforts against the Viet Minh, tactical and diplomatic comms, starting with the notable September 23 of 1945 intercept of the Ho Chi Minh message to Stalin, signal intelligence support during the French period to build up of U.S. assets in South Vietnam and the region, Thailand and the Philippines, monitoring of the Ho Chi Minh Trail infiltration system, the pivotal Gulf of Tonkin episode, Chapter 5, drawing on Hancock's earlier internal study, signal intelligence role in air war, targeting bomb damage assessment, adaptation of enemy to low power common landlines, the Tet offensive, Vietnamization, the attempt to stand up South Vietnamese signal intelligence capabilities in the chaotic endgame, and the fall of Saigon. An aftermath conclusion section reflecting on post-war U.S. Communication intelligence challenges. So I asked to give me a broader look as a globalist tool as opposed to a legitimate American war. And so here Grok says, broader significance as a globalist tool more than the American people operation. From a narrower American people defending freedom against communism framing, the book shows a professional signal intelligence corps delivering real tactical utility in a difficult environment while struggling with the classic intelligence policy tension. Henrock is measured but does not shy away from analytic failure and the misuse of reporting. Viewed from the broader globalist tool standpoint you asked about, the significance shifts. Vietnam was not merely a national war gone wrong. It functioned as a high-intensity laboratory and accelerator for capabilities, doctrines, and institutional patterns that transcended any single nation's electorate or traditional sovereignty. Signal intelligence as the forge of transnational surveillance infrastructure. The theater tested and refined mobile tactical intercept, airborne collection, fusion of multiple sources, real-time reporting, and targeting cycles under combat conditions. These were not one-off wartime expedients. They scaled into the post-Vietnam architecture of global signal intelligence. Enhanced USA 5I integration from echelon-era systems and the digital whatever that word is. I'm not even sure what that word, panopticon, that followed. I'm not even sure what that word is. What was proven against Spartan low-power tactical nets in Indochina became fundamental to monitoring planetary communication flows. The infrastructure inherently operates above and across national boundaries, serving alliances, consensus, long-term strategic containment than Soviet China, later broader, more fluidly than episodic national policy. Precedent for intelligence shaped the causes, belie, and narrative control. The Gulf of Tonkin case is a textbook demonstration of how even objective signal intelligence, the enemy-owned comms, can be filtered, amplified, and allowed to fit through analytic and reporting bias under political or policy pressure. The result bypassed fuller democratic deliberation and committed the country to a major war. This pattern, intelligence presented to preclude objective assessment, is not an aberration confined to 1964. It reveals a mechanism usable for larger agenda. In a globalist lens, such tools enable managed conflict power projection, and serve interconnected financial resource and control interests far more than they reflect the unfiltered will or security of the American people. And again, alliance hardening and sovereignty dilution, close wartime signal intelligence cooperation with allies in the building of regional infrastructure reinforced the Five Eyes model that Q explained to you. Henrich's work stays rigorously within signal intelligence lane, does not explore parallel CIA military activities or narco economics of the Golden Triangle. Why this matters for truth seekers. Spartans in Darkness is one of the most valuable declassified windows into how modern intelligence power actually works. Not in theory, but in a sustained hot war with real collection challenges and policy stakes. The Gulf of Tonkin analysis alone supplies primary source grounding for skepticism about intelligence-driven escalations. That's what you're seeing with Iran, intelligence-driven escalations. North Korea, intelligence-driven escalations. From the wider angle, you requested the book illustrate how a signal service forged in the specific fires of Indochina contributed essential components to a global information dominance apparatus. The apparatus excels at collection and targeting. Its track record on preventing our honesty or honestly informing strategic decisions is far more mixed. The Spartans delivered tactical edges in darkness. For who? The larger system they helped build operations in a difficult kind of darkness, one that encompasses planetary data flows and can shape the conditions under which nations go to war. That is a summation of a Q drop. Connected to how Q is trying to explain to you, this is post 845, so in relevance, we were showing you posts all the way up from the middle of, later on, even some were past this. Here, this is showing you right in the middle something to dig on, and then that's what it is to dig on. That's the book report about Spartans in Darkness. This document is the document. I mean, you could argue, I guess, that Spartans in Darkness that Q was pointing to, relevant to Snowden and China, isn't relevant to the Indo-China Spartans in Darkness exposure of how fake information leads countries to war. You've got all these people out there telling you that Donald Trump is the neocon and that he's putting you in a forever war. That's what they're saying with a straight face. And there's like nobody that has a broad, other than us, there's really nobody that I see that can actually explain to people why we are in Iran to begin with. Even though right there in the Q drops, I think that we clearly presented that the only option to deal with this is to go in there and blow up their nuke system and to isolate them away from the world, to prevent the people that are operating there, the clowns, if you will, from being able to operate. Now you've seen that their Navy was fake, their Air Force was fake, their missile software or their missile protective systems, all fake. Everything they bought from China, everything they bought from Russia, all obliterated. We obliterated every single piece of it. Haven't even sent a troop to stand foot on the ground yet, as far as we know. I mean, there's probably some people in there. But not like what George Bush and the neocons did in their forever war. This has been like 6 weeks, a month, or a couple months. So I think personally, from reading those Q drops, I read the Q drops to understand that whenever the time when the time arrived, future proving past, not a big decode, not something I got to cryptically read into. Future proving past means one day we're going to do something about this mess in Iran. That would indicate the flyovers and the missiles going right down the chutes, the 30 some hours that they were all flying over there that nobody even knew that they had left the base. The same thing I think happened in North Korea way back in 2017. Nobody ever said anything. What are they going to do? They're going to come out and say that Donald Trump just blew up our nuclear facility here in North Korea. Donald Trump didn't take credit for it, but it sure did blow up. We have Q pointed to it, and we have specifics on the Richter scale that happened when it happened in real time. Facts. It happened. What happened in Iran happened. Where are the facts that show Iran is a individual state that props itself up and that actually has been in charge of its own fate for the last 200 or 100 years or 150 years since it was taken over whenever oil was discovered there in the late 1800s? That's when Iran was conquered. by the powers that be before World War I. Iran has been a boogeyman state since then. Before the Middle Ages, civilization and we're going to connect in the long run here. We're going to connect Iran to your Knights Templar circa 1100 AD. Right there. The Jesuit Octopus network is massive. Flynnfowars are its advocates. They're the machine that pushes the propaganda. Very, very easy. The same people that are telling you that Bannon and Epstein are Q. Those propagandists. That we have people that have donated to this show and participated in this show, been friends, family with the show, all of a sudden pivot and say that I'm in a cult. I didn't change. I didn't do anything. Been saying the same thing I'm saying right now for years. We've been saying the same thing. Next phase. You guys enjoying this? Am I overwhelming you? Are you enjoying this? I'm going to need a 47. I need to see some 47s right now in the chat. Thank you so much. Let me see over here. Yes, this is biblical. Thank you so much. All of you. Hey, Lydia. Hey, Q Phenom. Hey, 17 Patriots. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hey, MG Show. Hey, Jeff. How you doing, buddy? Am I doing okay out here? Thank you guys, everybody, so much. Thank you for supporting what we're doing here. This matters to us. We are trying to get your message out. That's our job. I hope we're doing our job right. God bless each and every one of you, because this is not easy to navigate, man. And this is not easy to navigate. What do we have here? 1988. Why are you going back to 1988, Shannon? What in the world could you possibly be reading from that? Oh, it's a quote from Time Magazine. Oh, they're interviewing Donald Trump. Made the following remarks regarding how he would handle tensions with Iran. Quote, I'd be harsh on Iran. They've been beating us psychologically, making us look like a bunch of fools. One bullet shot at one of our men or ships, and I'd do a number on Karg Island. I'd go in and take it. Iran can't even beat Iraq, yet they push the United States around. It'd be good for the world to take them on. Now, does that sound like a guy that's confused? Does that sound like a guy that, is angling for a forever war? Sounds like a guy that knows exactly what he's talking about. What does this sound like?
The other countries, then the other countries tend to do a little bit as you do. And you can create the right attitudes. The Iranian situation is a case in point. That they hold our hostages is just absolutely and totally ridiculous. That this country sits back and allows a country such as Iran to hold our hostages, to my way of thinking, is a horror. And I don't think they'd do it with other countries. I honestly don't think they'd do it with other countries.
Obviously, you're advocating that we should have gone in there with troops, etc., and brought our boys out.
I absolutely feel that, yes. I don't think there's any question, and there's no question in my mind.
Don't you love seeing those videos? I mean, there's something.
No question in his mind? You see that? After reading the Q drops, there was no question in my mind that we were going to have to do that. No, I don't want a forever war. No, I don't want our troops bogged down in a hellhole in Iraq or Iran or anywhere else. I don't want that. We have a military for a reason. And the reason of the military is to protect America, not protect the world from anything. This whole NATO thing, this idea that, that we're the ones that protect everybody from everything. It's not our job. We'd love to help. Interestingly enough, you're not paying us properly, but we'd love to help, but it's not our job. Our job is to protect America. And so what the reason that the establishment is so upset at Donald Trump is because he's presenting an example of how you protect America, and he's making them look like absolute idiots. They look like complete incompetent fools because they're not doing, and they can't do anything right. Nothing they do is right. You can see the examples pretty clearly, I think. I think you can see right there what Q was explaining and how it correlates to what Donald Trump said he would do. There's actually there's an interview on Oprah. There's another interview with Barbara Walters that he does where he says the same thing. And you can't find any video footage of this man at any point in between saying that, oh, Iran should be left alone to be able to say death to America. And then we have a president that literally loads up $1.7 billion in cash, $100 bills, puts it on 4 airliners and sends it to land, 3 of them in Iran. Q explained that happened. Did you know that happened before Q told you? And why would Donald Trump be saying it over and over and over again, only as a link back to what Q explained? Why wouldn't he just move past it if he was so afraid of this Q thing? Why does it all line up with exactly what he says? Possibility because we were right. Highly, highly possible. So as we move into the next phase of the presentation, this is where we're moving into the architecture, the operation, the players in the game. How do they do it? What is their infrastructure? We went over all this. A lot of you are going to be familiar with some of the information that I'm going to cover here, but I'm doing this for you so that you can not only take it in yourself, but you can also share this with someone who actually wants to learn what it is that Donald Trump is doing and what it is that Q was and what the Q operation continues to be today in a readable format. It's not confusing. Please help anybody that you can that is confused, because this is we could have, whenever you say we don't deserve him regarding Trump, that's so much bigger than we could even begin to explain. The OSS and the 4th dimension of warfare. I'm going to immediately connect you from this headline to the 5th generational warfare, the continuation of the work. This is the work. Major John Jack John Sing Lao was a young airborne lieutenant when he took up an offer from the Office of Strategic Services to become engaged in hazardous duty behind enemy lines. He was a participant in Operation Jadeberg and parachuted into occupied France to organize, train, and lead French resistance units. When the Germans were driven from the operational area, he was concerned that he might miss the rest of the war and volunteered for duty in the Far East. He was sent to China, where he trained a guerrilla unit to operate in Japanese-occupied Indochina, and just before the Japanese surrender, led a dangerous mission to rescue Allied POWs on Halman Island off the Chinese coast. The operations carried out by General Sing Lao and other OSS special ops officers during World War II were the foundation upon which U.S. Special Forces were built and the basis for the special operations that are conducted by U.S. forces to this day. This is the player in the game. John Jack K. Sing Lao. He created America's future that General Flynn currently wields. This will be this link will be there for you to go if you'd like to read an overview of his. This is an interview with him specifically. I think there was one part in this I'm going to be coming back to in the next episode for this particular article, but that's the introduction to Jack John Sing Lao, Jack Air Operations, JACK, Korea, 1951 to 1953. And here you have the date. This is the date the Korean War lasted from June 25, 1950 to July 27, 1953. Jack Air Operations. Korea provided a hot war operational environment for America's fledgling CIA, established on 18 September 1947 from some OSS veterans of World War II were recruited. Office of Strategic Services became CIA. After the North Koreans invaded the South on 25 June 1950, General Douglas MacArthur, former Southwest Pacific commander in World War II, denied OSS access to the theater, reluctantly permitted the CIA to establish an operational agency in Korea. By then, the United Nations, UN, had selected the Allied commander of occupied Japan in the U.S. Far East Command to lead its member nation forces to the restoration of status antebellum on the peninsula, with limited sea and airlift to move under strength poorly trained and equipped divisions, 8th U.S. Army to Korea. American units were committed piecemeal to stiffen the resolve of retreating Republic of Korea forces. The UN commander was desperate. Services with Special Operations Unit and capabilities were welcome. The Joint Advisory Commission, Korea, JAC, covered as an 8206th Army unit, was a CIA operational element. Its mission was to collect strategic intelligence and to operate an escape and evasion network for downed UN airmen. This entailed recruiting and inserting agents far behind enemy lines by airdrop or boat insertions, as well as hiring Korean fishing junks, moonlighting as smugglers, pirates, to rescue downed flyers on both coasts. The purpose of this article is to show that there were operational needs for the aerial recovery of agents and downed UN pilots behind enemy lines. Jack validated the use of all-weather night-flying light bombers for agent parachute insertions and experimented with free-fall parachuting. A World War II personnel recovery system was tried because helicopters were slow and limited in range and lift capacity. These were air operations, challenges faced by the CIA in Korea in 1951 for the duration of the war. In JAC operations, Chief OSS veteran Sing Laub served as de facto Deputy Commander-in-Chief of Staff. He was responsible for filling the operational positions. Sing Laub recruited experienced active duty military personnel and had them detailed to the CIA because air operations were critical to getting intelligence agents, resistance organizers, and saboteurs behind the lines to resupply them. I'm showing you this because I'm showing you how CIA got assets into North Korea to control North Korea up until Donald Trump. America's future network begins here. This is the beginning. This is where it started. The OSS, the CIA, the Bush neocon New World Order is this. Let's see, I think I'm at a spot here. I think I was at a spot here just to jump right in. Let me make sure. I'm going to start reading this. If this is not right, I might move. The Joint Advisory Commission Korea covered as the 882. Oh, wait. Am I in the same? I might be in the same document. Yes, I am. Sorry about that. Korean War dates. Okay, here, this is where we want to go next. Major Jack Sing Laub, John Kirk Sing Laub, founding member of Central Intelligence Agency. We've talked about this. You guys have known this. We have threads on this. Jeff could probably throw some threads out there if you've got anything that you've got right there handy. You can feel free to put in talking about who this guy is, how he's connected to America's future. We're going to go through all of it as we get through it, but just to kind of sum up what we're talking about here, we're talking about the person who created and wielded the network that was America's future that General Flynn currently controls. So everything that this guy built on the backs of the CIA as his own personal networks, this is what I believe became the Defeat Disinfo McChrystal network. This is what I believe is all of the influence operations out there. This is what I believe became everything that you know as communists working against you, acting like they're somehow here to save you. Sing Laub relieved of his position as chief of staff in U.S. forces in South Korea after criticizing Carter's proposal to withdraw U.S. troops from Korean Peninsula. In an interview with the Post less than a year later, Sing Laub was forced to retire after publicly questioning President Carter's national security policies regarding Iran. In 1979, Singh Laub founded the Western Goals Foundation, a private intelligence network that was implicated for supplying weapons to the Contras during the Iran-Contra affair. Singh Laub contributed to several books and wrote an autobiography. There you have the lead-in. Western Goals Foundation. Western Goals Foundation's funding communism controversy stems from its involvement in the Iran-Contra affair. Wait a minute. Contras, Singh Laub, Octopus, Network, Jesuit Order, Secret Societies, Spartans in Darkness. Controversy stems from its involvement in the Iran-Contra affair. Notice Iran-Contra. Iran-Contra. We're the cheap seats. During the 1980s, the foundation's board members helped covertly finance the Nicaraguan Contras. A Marxist-led, communist-aligned faction was not the group being funded, but rather anti-communist insurgents. The controversy specifically centers on the operating as an illegal non-government conduit for weapons and money, essentially laundering funds. This is the beginning of your CIA drug running. The modern era of it. This is what it's built on. This is why you see the flipping out. Whenever Donald Trump blows up a drug boat, he's blowing up a Singh Laub boat. He's blowing up a Western Goals boat. He's blowing up a commie Marxist boat, bringing drugs and destruction in his country. The controversy directly involved the United States Congress, investigative journalists, and civil rights groups. Congressional investigation into the Contras, Foundation board members. We lived through this. A lot of you remember this, but they didn't really explain it properly on TV. It made you think about it as like, oh, they're completely obstructing the fact that George Bush was at the center of all of it. Looks like to me, John Singh Laub was his off books guy, just like there's a Flynn off books guy now, right? Operating against Trump. Got to have him out there. When the scheme was exposed, Foundation officials were swept into the 1986 congressional investigations. Critics and government regulators accused the group of circumventing U.S. law and utilizing shady, anti-democratic funding channels in the name of anti-communism. The American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, sued. You guys seeing that the ACLU might be like the SPLC? They all have got the TDS. That's a fact. The American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, sued the foundation for compiling and computerizing illegal intelligence files. The data was allegedly stolen from disbanded Los Angeles Police Department Red Squad files, was used by the foundation to track and target left-wing American pacifists, activists, and civil rights groups as communist sympathizers. Now, you see this right here. This is very interesting. Now, understand this dynamic. So the communists are identifying people in society that are actually anti-communist. And so they paint those people that are anti-communist as the communists so that they can weaponize the media against them, even though the real communists are the ones that they are perpetuating. And they use the virtue signal. And then people look at you and say, oh, well, that's Western Goals Foundation. They were out there fighting communism, Shady. They weren't actually implementing communism. They were trying to help the Contras, man. Are you buying that? It's a big pill to swallow. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to, you're allowed to believe whatever it is that you want, but man, at what point how much of this stuff can we overlook? How much can we overlook before we recognize what we're looking at? Western Goals actively raised funds to arm and supply overseas militant groups outside of established U.S. law. That is what Patrick Byrne is doing. That is what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing. All of these people that are bringing in this foreign money through all of these organizations, whether they be Russia, Iran, I don't know where they're all coming. They're coming from everywhere. They've all got a portal. All they have to do is go out there and hate on Donald Trump. If you go out and hate on Donald Trump, people are dying to throw money in your pocket and to fill your coffers with whatever it is that you would need so that you could continue, like look at what they did with, and that was actually a pretty good summation. That was straight out of Google, by the way, just explain to me how Western goals had issues with funding of communism. It's all inverted. So how do we navigate? You got to understand how to navigate. And the way that you navigate is very, very simple. They are inverting your reality. What they are doing, their job, 100% job, is to take something, whatever it is they see, and then they turn it around 100% the opposite and make it look like that you're doing what they're doing. Projection. All you have to do, if you want to be the super secret decoder of the universe, all you have to do is invert what they say to you, and then you will have what it is they started with. Listen to what they say, reverse it, see it backwards as the opposite of what they said, and you will literally be sitting there looking at what it is they were trying to spin that ended them up at where they were in opposite land. I mean, like all of us played opposite game as children, right? I mean, we all were part of, like being contrary. Jeff will tell you, I'm not contrarian at all. So it looks like we got a few minutes to get to a little bit of the, this little portion we're going to read. I didn't know that if I was going to quite get this far or not. The link to what I'm getting ready to read you won't be in the description for this broadcast, but it will be in the description for part 2. These are going to be 3 separate descriptions, even though they're going to they are all going to connect in the end with a very, this is, this is not small stuff. And it's important. It's important to me because I feel like people are trying to confuse you and trying to make you second guess yourself. And then they say things like that I'm in a cult. They've been saying that Q people, whatever, is a cult. At one point they were saying I was a cult that wasn't paying attention to Q correctly. I'm an individual. I'm Shannon. I work with Jeff. We're individuals. We're doing what it is that we think is the right thing to do as far as report information that we can clearly discern, we can clearly see, you can clearly understand. And if we get it wrong, we're willing to listen to anybody that says we got it wrong. If that's a cult leader or a cult, we must be the worst cult ever. So here, let's do a little bit of reading about the Black Network, Octopus Nebulae, and the Joint. On July 29th, 1999, Time magazine reported in great detail how the corrupt BCCI bank had been controlled by what senior officials termed as the, quote, Black Network, which had ties to many Western intelligence agencies, including the CIA, DIA, and Mossad, arms merchants, and dictators around the world. This hugely powerful conglomerate was involved in drug running, arms trafficking, gold smuggling, assassinations, and bribing of government officials. From other sources, it became clear that the Black Network operatives were working with the CIA and Mossad, indicating these two elements really controlled the network. See this article here, then this is the article I'm talking about. I've quoted from this article there, and I will have that available in the next broadcast. The BCCI is more than just a criminal bank. From interviews from sources close, BCCI Time has pieced together a portrait of a clandestine division of the bank called the Black Network, which functions as a global intelligence operation and a mafia-like enforcement squad. Operating primarily out of the bank's offices in Karachi, Pakistan, the 1,500-employee Black Network has used sophisticated spy equipment and techniques along the bribery, extortion, kidnapping, and even by some accounts murder. The Black Network, so named by its own members, stops at almost nothing to further the bank's aims the world over. And this goes into so many different things from here. I mean, this is getting ready to spiderweb into the octopus. Somebody said earlier, I can't remember, I think it might have been Bonster that said, is this what they really mean by the Kraken? releasing the Kraken? I think so. It's because it touches every single thing. The more conventional departments of BCCI handled such services as laundering money for the drug trade and helping dictators loot their national treasury, because this is what the CIA does. They go in, they conquer a government, then they loot the treasury, then they make money worthless, and then the next thing you know, they're owed everything, and they control the country, and the people of the country can't do anything. Now you have Donald Trump, and look at what's happened in Colombia, Venezuela, Iraq, Armenia, a number of other places in Europe and South America where pro-America, pro-Donald Trump measures, what's the word I'm looking for there? I'm missing my word. Policies are being implemented. According to investigators and participants in those operations, it often works with Western and Middle Eastern intelligence agencies. Oh, no kidding. The strange and silly murky ties between BCCI and the intelligence agencies of several countries are so pervasive that even the White House has become entangled. As Time reported earlier this month, the National Security Council used BCCI to funnel money from Iran-Contra deals, and the CIA maintained accounts in the BCCI for covert operations. Moreover, investigators have told Time that the Defense Intelligence Agency has maintained a slush fund account with BCCI, apparently to pay for clandestine activities. U.S. agents collaborated with the Black Network in several operations, according to BCCI Black Network officer, who is now a secret U.S. government witness. Notice this is Iran-Contra. Notice this is connected to South America. Sources have told investigators that BCCI worked closely with Israel's spy agencies and other Western intelligence groups as well, especially in arms deals. The bank also maintained cozy relationships with international terrorists, say investigators, who discovered suspected terrorist accounts for Libya, Syria, and the Palestine Liberation Organization on BCCI's London offices. The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979 and the resulting strategic importance of neighboring Pakistan accelerated the growth of BCCI's geopolitical power and its unbridled use of the Black Network. The bank was in a unique position to operate an intelligence gathering unit. The church is an intelligence gathering unit. I want to make that clear. Confession is an intelligence gathering unit. The oldest intelligence agency on earth is the Vatican, because it dealt with such figures and it's strategically intertwined with every little crumb of this, including everything you've seen happen in South America, including all of the illegal immigration, including all of the cartel stuff, including all of going back to being, quote unquote, the colonizers that these people tell you that America is. Well, these were the colonizers. And arms dealers like Adnan Khashoggi. Yes, this is Khashoggi that you've heard of's uncle. The one that they virtue signal about all over the place, acting like, he was the best journalist the New York Times ever had. Its original purpose was to pay bribes, intimidate authorities, quash investigations. But according to a former operative, sometime in the early 1980s, the Black Network began running its own drugs, weapons, and currency deals. I was recruited by the Black Network in the 1980s, says an Arab-born employee who has ties to the ruling family in the Middle East and has told U.S. authorities of his role in running one of the Black units. Quote, they came to me while I was in school in the United States. They spoke my language, knew all of my friends, and gave me money. They told me they wanted me to join the organization and described its wealth and political power. But at first, they never said exactly what the organization did. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be leaving the information part of this broadcast here today, suspending this. We will pick up part 2, and I will literally reread this as a lead in next week to show you where we go from here. I would say that we're roughly a third of the way through the architecture to show you who the operators are. And then we are going to move into the esoteric undergirding that applies to literally every single one of these people that we've been discussing, including the reason that the Q drops were the Q drops, to explain to us what, why, who, when, and how. By asking the questions. Explain something by asking the question. So right now, I think I'd like to maybe let's move it. If you've got that ready, let's play Once CIA from Rebel Valkyrie. I hope you're out. I hope you guys had a great time. I hope you enjoyed this. We're gonna play Once CIA. This is a great song to end this broadcast with, I think. Thank you so much for being here and listening to me. I'll be right back after this awesome musical interlude. Maybe.
Once CIA, always CIA. That's the golden rule, they say. Suit leaves Langley, but the leash don't break away. Trade the trench coat for a pinstripe, keep the burner in the drawer. Same old spooks just walking through a different marble door. Once CIA, always CIA. The badge don't ever fade. From the farm to the floor, they still run the same old trade. Black ops in the shadows, black ops in the light. Once CIA, always CIA. Forever in the fight. Former spook in Congress, former spook in the race, former spook in the Senate, smile on his face. One became the president, waved from Marine One stare, but the files in Langley still list him as ours, handle with care. Define black op clandestine, off the books no trace. Plausible deniability written all over the place. When the rogue boys in the agency decide the country's lost its way, they run a quiet op on Pennsylvania Avenue, the American way. Snowden wasn't CIA, he was NSA through and through. Worked out of the Cunha tunnel on a who's hidden side. Buried deep beneath old pineapple fields, turned spy bazaar. Cool concrete catacombs where the signals never died. Once CIA, always CIA. But NSA watches too. Five eyes upstream prison, they know what you're about to do. When the whistleblower drops the docks and runs to Hong Kong's glow, the whole machine screams traitor, but everybody already knows. What happens when the deep black turns the guns back home? When Langley or Fort Meade decides who sits upon the throne? They leak, they forge, they flip the vote, they plant the compromat. Call it self-preservation when they stage a quiet coup like that. NSA versus CIA, mirror images in the dark. One collects the signals, one runs the cutouts and the sparks. But when the rogue wings flap together, friend and foe both feel the blade. Once CIA, always CIA, and the republic slowly fades. Once CIA, always CIA. Ask not for whom the black op runs, it runs for thee today.
Thank you. I misunderstood. I was actually thinking with the We the People song on that one was a collaboration. That song right there was an MG Music. Jeff did that one. I'm so sorry and I insulted him. After the end of the whole show, did it so good, and then I screw it all up at the end. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight, for supporting. Thank you for the donations out there, for thinking that this is important. I'm going to continue to say over and over and over again that what it is that we are doing here is an unbelievable lift. Each and every one of you has your part to play. You have your role in the game. The game is to free us from the control of the people that want to perpetuate problems, and let's start acting as the people that want to solve and fix the problems. I'd like to thank each and every one of you. Thank you to all of you for supporting independent patriot journalism. We are here we want to spread the notion that there is a clear line between the truth and the lie. The lie is that they are the global elite. The truth is that you are the global elite. You, the American people, you're the one that stands up for truth. You're the one that stands up for justice. You're the one that stands up for the forgotten man, for the suppressed man, for the person who didn't have a chance. You, America, give them that opportunity. Thank you so much for joining us on the Q Lounge Live, and I will be seeing you in the morning from 9 a.m. on my time, or 12 p.m. on the East Coast at the MG Show. Thank you for supporting Citizen Patriot Journalism.
When I pull up out front, you see the Benz on bill. When I roll 20 deep, so